It's Matchbox Day. Don't go away. Hey everybody, it's Paul from Fat Guy Productions coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm sorry I'm smiling and laughing. This is like my third attempt to do this little part. I just keep saying really stupid things. So I'm just redoing it again and it's just got me laughing. Anyhow, it's Matchbox Day. And today we're going to be tackling one of my all-time favorites, the S&S Cadillac Ambulance. It's going to be a lot of fun, so let's get right to it. Okay, today it is indeed time to restore this ambulance. Who didn't love this one? Seriously. You know, you always had to love the emergency vehicles, the cop cars, the fire trucks, the ambulances. They were always some of my favorite, and I guess it figures, I later on became a fireman. But this thing needs my help, and it's about to get it. This is a Lesney Matchbox number 54 S&S Cadillac Ambulance. And you can see on the bottom here it's only got one rivet, which is nice. And the back end is held in by a little tab. So I'm going to bust out my Vix Bit and use my Vix Bit method to drill this rivet out of here so that I can get this car apart. This is going to work great. Give me a nice centered hole to work with. I love it. Put the Vix Bit over the rivet. Start drilling nice and slow. Speed it up a little, add some pressure. Away goes the rivet. Okay, with the rivet head drilled off, I can break out a little persuader to try and help me get the base to come separate from the body, which this one that came off pretty easily. I'll lift it off, and as you can see, there's really not a lot here. It's a straight axle, no suspension, no nothing. Shoot that out of the way. Next up, we have the ambulance interior, and fortunately, it's in beautiful shape. There's not going to be a lot of work involved here, so we can just put that to the side. And I still don't understand why Matchbox insisted on riveting the glass in, but they did. But again, my Vix Bit method will make short work of that rivet. You just got to be careful not to break the glass or drill through the roof of the vehicle. Really don't need to be too careful with this glass because the windshield is stoved in. I'm going to replace it, but I don't know, force of habit, I guess, right? So I'll break out a little persuader. I just got to find a good purchase point, and it should come right out. And I guess it's good practice for when the windshield is in good shape. Okay, there you go. Now it's out. And you can see also the redheads dropped out. And they're not in bad shape. I'm going to be able to work with those. So we'll put those to the safe side. And this windshield, complete crap. It's got to go. All right, there you have it. One stripped down S&S ambulance. Let's get that paint off of it. Okay, before we head to paint, we're going to just kind of file the post down flat a little bit, and then we're going to take our small drill bit and we're going to drill into the center of it to accommodate the screw that we will use to put this sucker back together when it's all done. Now there's a lot of post here, and since I have a beautifully nice centered starting point, I don't have too much trouble drilling this out. Just take your time so the drill doesn't jump out, and drill on down deep enough to make sure the screw will fit. Okay, so there's not really a whole lot of extra axle here, and I don't want to grind away any of the metal. So I'm going to bust out my flat-jawed pliers, and I'm just going to start squeezing where the end of the axle was rounded over, and just kind of work my way around slowly but surely until the tires will pop off. Okay, so now it's time for one of my favorite parts of these restorations, and that is stripping off the paint. I use a nice gel paint stripper so I can put it on with a brush and it'll stay put and sit there as long as it needs to until the paint goes away or releases its grip on the model. But I really do enjoy this part. I love the way the paint bubbles up. You know, it's just, I don't know. I'm weird like that. Okay, most of the paint has kind of let go, and I'm just using the brush here with a little more of the stripper on it to kind of persuade some of the paint off. And once I get far enough, we'll go ahead and wash and brush it. And don't forget the base. I know it's underneath the car, nobody's going to see it, but we can't do anything halfway, so we've got to do the base, and it's going to get the same love that the body is going to get. Okay, so it looks like we've done about as much as we can here, so it's time to head to the sink for a little running water and a brush, and we'll brush off as much of this as we can, and then we'll be right back. Okie dokie, we are back from the sink. Most of the paint is off. The car is looking pretty good. There are some details we have to tend to, and that's when we break out the dental picks. And so we just kind of go around the car and help persuade little pieces that don't want to go away to, well, go away. Okay, we're going to just kind of scuff the whole body up a little bit with a brass bristle brush. Make sure we get rid of any last little particles of paint that we're not seeing and kind of just smooth everything out and get ready for the paint job. Okay, the body was in really pretty good shape, but I still thought maybe it could use a little once over with some 4.0 steel wool, so I went ahead and did that. And when I'm done here, I'm going to go ahead and clean the body up with a little bit of degreaser and then wash it off under some cool, clean running water, blot it dry, and take it to the paint booth. Okay, you might think this ambulance is white, and it is not white. It's going to be a little bit of off-white. So what I did is I took some Tamiya gloss white paint, and I added just the smallest amount of yellow to just make it not such a bright white. All right, then I thinned it down with a little bit of Tamiya X20 thinner, and I added a few drops of Mr. Colors self-leveling thinner. As always, the first layer is just a nice light tack coat. You can barely even see any color on it at all. After that has dried for a few minutes, then I'll come back and I'll hit it with a nice little medium coat where you'll actually finally start to get to see the thing go to color. And then I'm going to finish it off with one or two nice wet coats. Heavy enough that it's glossy and shiny and wet, but not so heavy that you get a run or a sag. She's looking fantastic. Just remember, when you're painting, whether you're putting down the paint or the clear coat, one of the keys is lighting. You need to be able to see that paint laying down on the body. Okay, just because we're in a holding pattern for the paint doesn't mean progress will not continue. Now it's over to the little bowl and my friend, Super Clean, and a toothbrush, and we're going to clean up the wheels very nicely. Not only does this kind of get off the gunk and the gook, but it leaves behind a nice little sheen to the wheels. I really love the way they come out here. With the wheels drying, we can now turn our attention to the glass. Okay, the original glass, the windshield is stoved in and really just unusable. And I do have a replacement windshield here. Now, as far as the little flasher red headlights for the top, they're in pretty good shape, so we're going to be able to save those. All right, and you guys have seen me use my gauzy before, okay? So I've got the gauzy, my paper plate, my paper towel. I've got the stuff that I want to shine up, and so let's get right to it. Before dipping, I noticed that the main beacon on the little red part had kind of like a scuffed up, worn off top. It wasn't terrible, not bad enough to replace it, but I wanted to kind of equalize that little scuffed up area to the rest of the light. So I'm using a super fine grade sanding pad. This is like, I think 6,000 or higher or something like that. It's really fine sanding, and it's just enough to smooth that top out a little bit before we send it swimming in the gauzy pool. Upon inspection of the new replacement windshield, there is a freaking dot in it. A little black speck. Man, I'm so not happy about that. But it is what it is. I've got what I have, and once it's in the gauzy and it's as shiny as it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be an issue. I tried to get it out from both sides. I didn't want to take a bunch of sandpaper and start attacking this brand new windshield. So that wasn't an option. I decided I'm going to live with the dot. But I got to be honest, it's going to chap my ass for a very long time. Okay, so everything is ready here for the gauzy, so I'll pick up the windshield and take it for a swim. Pull it out, make sure I don't get any bubbles to stick to it. Let it drip off a little bit. Then I'm going to move it over to the paper towel where I can wick off a bunch of the excess. And basically, I just kind of hold it at an angle so everything is going into one spot, right about where I'm touching it to the paper towel. And the paper towel will just kind of suck away any of the extra gauzy, because we don't need big puddles of this stuff on there. We just want a nice, thin, even coating. And yes, the redheads are feeling a little left out right now, and they want to go swimming too, so let's accommodate them. And I don't want it to sit flat, so I'm just going to put that little toothpick there so that afterwards I can kind of put the redheads down a little bit on the toothpick, a little bit on the plate, so that it kind of glue themselves to the plate. All right, I've wicked off the extra and just kind of lean it up there. Okay, and I've got two parts, so I'm going to need two covers. We don't want any woolly boogers landing on our beautiful glass. And courtesy of my viewers, I am chucking up the axle into my drill and taking a little sandpaper to it to clean it up. I still don't like messing with the axles, but it's a necessary evil. This absolutely makes it go a lot easier. So thank you guys for the tip. Okay, so for the base, it was really simple. I just gave it a coat of Tamiya Fine Primer and then airbrushed on a little bit of Tamiya Gloss Black. Put it aside to dry, and it looks beautiful. Okay, so now I'm taking a look at the wheels, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to put them on. I'm going to put the best sides out, and I'm just going to kind of get everything threaded onto the base, and then we'll take it off to the drill press where we can lock everything back together. Okay, so here we are back at the drill press for Marty's method, using his idea of the kind of hollowed out ends of two nail heads. I can use that to spin over the end of the axle and lock everything back together. Thank you for the great suggestion, Marty. This works fabulous. And frankly, it's probably exactly the way this was done initially at the Matchbox factory. Now, I do have another ambulance. It's kind of a pretty massive junker. So I do have two interiors, and I'm just going to kind of pick out the one I like the best. It really didn't need anything other than just a rinse under some water. And so that is good to go. So we've got an interior, we've got a base, we have a painted body, and now we can tend to the glass that has been drying for quite some time. Here's my little redheads, which are going to look amazing. And then now let's get the windshield, which is, other than that stupid black dot in it, is going to look killer. Okay. Gosh, I think we are about ready to put this sucker back together. Okay, so we're going to put it all back together, and despite the paint having a clear coat polyurethane finish with hardener added, I'm still always, I hate this part because I'm worried that I'm going to damage the finish because I really, I put a lot of work into them and I want them to stay nice. So we'll drop the redheads in first. And on the windshield, you actually got to kind of hook it in at the front end first and then drop the back down. Okay, so now the windshield is in, and that actually just kind of traps the redheads between the body and the windshield. Now we'll go ahead and drop the interior in. And I have to say, I may come back to an S&S ambulance for you guys and do a custom, because it was really hard for me not to customize this one to begin with. I have something in mind I want to do. And if I ever do that, the interior will get a lot more attention than just being run under some water. Okay, so now I go ahead and I take the tab of the base and I put it in the back, and then just kind of make sure everything's lined up and drop the base into place. And now all that's left is to put the little screw in. And so here I've got the screw, and I'm just using the Allen wrench to kind of drive it into the post and lock this thing up. Okay, so for the final details of this particular restoration, we're going to just use this silver Sharpie to color in the bumper and the grill. And here you have it, folks. The Leslie Matchbox S&S Cadillac ambulance. I think it came out beautiful, except for maybe that little black dot in the windshield. But otherwise, I think it looks amazing. It's a great addition to my collection. Now, for the Red Cross sticker on the doors, I printed that out of sticker material. I actually kind of yellowed the background a little bit and then printed the cross and the background and everything, because that's how it was on the original. It was a sticker. And so I wanted to go true to what was there rather than using a decal or airbrushing the cross on. I'm not totally happy with the quality of the stickers I've made. I might order a replacement set, but in the interim, I think it looks pretty damn good. So there you have it, the S&S Cadillac ambulance. This was a very fun little car to do, but I have to admit, I am a little bit of a custom guy. I like putting in the extra little details to make these things really something else, and you can't do that when you're trying to do a restoration. For instance, I either would have used decals or painted the crosses on instead of using stickers. I'm probably going to end up replacing those. But that's just my preference. But I also can appreciate, in a restoration, the challenge of trying to make it look the way it should look, but be beautiful and restored. So I'm going to keep doing them, but I do really, really enjoy my customs. All right, if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, click subscribe, ask any questions, make any comments. I really do read all of your comments. It's one of my favorite parts of doing this YouTube channel is talking with you folks. All right, this is Paul from Fat Guy Productions. I'm going to get out of here. Until next time, be good.